All right, what's up, everyone out there in E3 land, aka Empowered Entrepreneurial Education. If you hear my kids in the background, it is because they are home today. Hi, everybody. It is so good to be here with you. My name is Derek Hatch from All Things Narrative, here at another panel with some lovely, lovely people. And we are going to be talking about money today. That thing that, we either love or hate talking about, right? It all just depends where you land on that. Now, even though money can't buy you love, money can buy you a lot of other things in life, right? And so we have an expert in money here who's going to share about that. The one and only Nicole Morales Sancho. And we are also joined by Tori, Marcy, and of course, John. And so we're going to go ahead and get into this amazing discussion. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, and YouTube as well. And so connect with us. We got a lot of exciting things coming. Without further ado, let's get into this financial conversation with our own creative financier, Nicole. Go ahead and take it away.
Thank you. I'm honestly so excited about this topic because, if we didn't dive into the most uncomfortable thing, which is, money, then, we wouldn't be where we need to be. But some people love talking about it, some people don't, and it's good to have good habits. And when you're transitioning as an entrepreneur, it's something that can be a bit of a challenge. And it also is a time when you really get to know yourself, It's like everything that you did before that was great, it'll transfer. Everything that you didn't do well, it transfers as well. But before we dive really into the topic, I'll share a little bit about, what I do. So as you can see, I'm a creative financier. I help entrepreneurs and also business owners and, families, individuals protect and save their money, specifically with life insurance, retirement planning, annuities, and debt settlement. And if I could just have the rest of the panel go through and, share the great backgrounds that they all have, we'll start with Tori.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tori Eubanks. I'm a virtual assistant. And what I do is I help entrepreneurs and small business owners with all of the administrative pieces of their business. So if you need someone to help you with planning your social media or publishing your newsletters or even data entry, I can help you with that.
Awesome. We'll go ahead with John.
Oh, there you go. I was going to be the gentleman, wait for last, but okay. So, hello, everyone. My name is John Acosta. I'm the owner of Soul Entertainment Soul Entertainment Art. I'm getting stuck on my own name. Don't worry, this is life. In Highlight Reviews, we're a digital marketing agency where we can help you develop your a marketing strategy, your web development, and SEO campaigns. And on my other company, if you're local in the West Palm area, we can teach you how to dance and get those moves.
Love it. And I'm just going to go in order. So sorry, I threw off the ladies first thing, but I actually have Derek on my screen next. So.
All right, what's up, everyone? As I shared earlier, my name is Derek Hatch from All Things Narrative. I run personal development and storytelling coaching. So if you want to learn how to pursue your most meaningful life and how stories and learning to tell your story can help you with that, then check out allthingsnarrative.com.
Love it. Awesome. And last but not least, we'll leave the star, Marcy. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. I am Marcy Amaro. I am a self-leadership coach, which means that I help you get out of your own way so you can create the business, life, and relationships that you want, so that you can elevate your life to the next level, and so that you can get over the hurdles, right? And one of the hurdles that I work with a lot of people on is getting over that fear of speaking in front of others. So if you want to lead yourself to success or create a team that self-leads, that you don't have to hold their hand all the time, I'm your person. Look me up, Marcy Amaro.
I love it. So we're all a diverse group, different backgrounds. So the type of value that I want us to bring, not just to those listening, but also just to each other, is just talking more so about our experience as we transitioned from employees to entrepreneurs. Maybe some of you were blessed to always be entrepreneurs. But I just want us all to just kind of share that, because the experience that we have is what is honestly at the end of the day is going to be most valuable. Yeah, we could talk about products and services that could be beneficial, but our own experiences are what's going to get us there. So the question that I have for every single one of us here is, what is one financial habit that once you started doing it, it really changed your business?
Okay, so financial specifically, I believe investing was one of the biggest things that I learned to do when I became an entrepreneur. I came from a teaching background. So one of the first lessons that I learned was that I was accustomed to making my money decisions based out of fear and out of scarcity, right? So I was always worried that I wasn't going to have enough, that I was going to have more month than money. And I was always scared of the whole money conversation. So one of the first shifts was going from that fear-based decision making to opportunity-based decision making, to where risks were no longer as scary, right? They're still scary, but I saw them more as an opportunity to expand. And one of the things that has helped me with that mindset is knowing that there's an investment possibility, right? And so investing and understanding how investing works, how when you see a dip and it's in the red, you don't freak out and take all your money out. You understand that it's a curve and it's going to come back up, right? And that mirrors our entrepreneurial journey so well sometimes, right? Because we go through the ups and the downs and the good months and the not so good months and all that. But when you can shift out of fear, it's an amazing distinction that you learn to make, right? Where you see those dips and you're like, oh, wait, that means it's going to go up even higher. I'm just waiting for it. I know it's going to happen. And so it changes your mentality completely, I think, when you shift from one thing to the other, and investing just helped.
Awesome. Would you say that that was because you just educated yourself? Like, what was the component that allowed you to eliminate the fear?
No, yeah, definitely educating myself, learning a lot more about how money works, right? I think that that's one of the things that we're so confused about, is we think that money is this thing that we get, right? When in reality, money is an exchange that we create. So when we start understanding that distinction, it also shifts the way you see everything. And educating myself in that and what money really is and how it works made all the difference.
Awesome.
Nicole, I think for me, to kind of piggyback on what Marcy was saying, for her, it was investment. For me, it was just setting up a good budgeting process so that I would make my money work for me. I had that fear, like Marcy did, having more month at the end than you had money. But setting up just a really good budget, I was able to plan for the future in a lot of ways for my business, different things that I might need, just educating myself to know how much I would need. And then as the money came in, just putting that money aside and setting up that budget so that I could be prepared and make informed decisions.
Definitely. Very true.
Okay.
I think for me, it's interesting because I think a lot of us probably do this when we first start our business, but I was severely undercharging. My price point was really, really low. And so what was happening was that like everything that I was bringing in was just going right back out really fast, which again, you're starting a new business, right? So that's pretty normal of a rhythm there. And I started to realize after a while, man, like if I don't figure out this whole price point thing to where it's going to be financially stable and sustainable and profitable, then it's just going to be like this pit, right? So kind of like what Tori's saying, I think rebudgeting and prioritizing, like there's lots of things I want to spend and do like for the business, but it's like, okay, can this wait? Can it wait 3 months? Can it wait 6 months, right? Being able to, with a budget, prioritize when I'm going to spend certain things, and being able to plan as well for like, okay, so if I'm going to raise my price point, if I know this season's going to be busy or this season's going to be slower, right? Trying to be really strategic about mapping out not just what you're spending, but when is the right time to spend it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and in my case, I recently went to a seminar, which really opened my eyes, because all of us, we save money and budget money for businesses. We have X amount of dollars for marketing, X amount of dollars for day-to-day basics, etc., etc. But there's one thing that we all hear all the time. We have to give. We have. I always, like, whenever I used to go and meet with a client, yeah, of course, I'll buy coffee, whatever. But I never had like a specific budget specifically for giving. And that has made a huge difference in my business for this little bit that I've been using it.
I hadn't heard that one before. So that's definitely a good perspective to have. Now, when you all first launched your business, what was like a financial fear you had? Because I'll say, like, for me, was my identity. Because they say you can't out earn your identity. You have to always change. You know, if you want to, make a certain amount, you have to consistently do that. So I would say I had the fear within, like, myself that I wasn't going to be able to get, to be that person in order to achieve what I wanted to in business. So what would you say, like, when you first launch your businesses, what that fear was?
Oh my gosh. For me, I was a teacher, like I said before, so I didn't make that much money, but still I was the primary breadwinner in my family. So I was worried we were gonna all end up homeless, my husband, my kids, and I, and that we weren't gonna be able to make ends meet. And the other worry I had, believe it or not, which I think it's common for Hispanic folks, so you guys tell me if you had similar things, but it was this idea that people weren't gonna like me anymore, that they weren't gonna understand, because we have this tendency as Hispanic folk to see rich people like they're not good, right? Like they're greedy and they're, so I was afraid that people were going to reject me if I made more money than I was making. So interestingly enough, that kept me stuck for a really long time, because I honestly worried, and I guess that has to do with the identity, like Nicole was saying, but I was genuinely worried that if I made too much money, people were going to start rejecting me in some form or another.
I agree. As a fellow Latina, I agree.
Hashtag. And that is true. As for us that we're Hispanic Latinos, we come with a lot of misinformation. I wouldn't say bad information, because they do it, or parents do it for the better of us, but a lot of the information that we get from our parents, that the money is the root of all evil. I mean, I know we also get that in the American side of things, but in the Hispanic, it's so like you should not be able to make that much money. And it's funny because as I was going through therapy at one point with somebody before I met all of you, one of my therapists told me, okay, you're gonna go to the bank, you're gonna pull out X amount of dollars, and you're gonna spread it all over your bed, and you're gonna sleep with it. And I'm like, you're nuts. And she's like, do it for a week, tell me how it goes. And definitely changed a lot. You're laughing, but let me see how many of you tried. We'll talk later.
That was my takeaway. That's what I'm gonna do. Here, go sleep with it.
Well, I'll definitely say that my fear was that coming from the nonprofit world, where everything you're doing is essentially like free to the consumer, so you're raising all your money from others to do what you do. So my biggest fear was, are people actually going to pay me for this? Are people actually going to take their hard-earned dollars and say, okay, yeah, I'll invest in that, or I'll spend on that. So I know that might sound silly for people who are like in business and then in that mindset a lot, but when you're not coming from the business world and you're used to doing handouts and all that kind of stuff, and then all of a sudden you want to start, using this as your primary vehicle for bringing in income, it's terrifying. It's a huge obstacle to overcome.
Mainly when you did jump from having a steady income like a 9 to 5 into going full time. That's this. I would say that was my scariest jump.
Yeah.
I think for me, mine was a little bit different because before I started my business, I was a homeschool mom. My daughter graduated last year. So for 13 years, that's what we did. We homeschooled. And prior to that, I was a stay-at-home mom. I'd been in the corporate world and had been out of it for so long. I had no idea how I could transition back into a business lifestyle, but then also being removed for 18 years at that time. How could I jump back in? What did I need to know to be able to start a business? So for me, it was as if I was just starting, just from the very bottom and trying to figure all of this out. And how could I start a business and protect that business and protect, what we had together as a family, beginning a business, setting up your LLC, what type do you use contracts? Are people actually going to pay me for this? Am I going to be losing my, money that we've set aside in savings to try and start a business? So just a lot of questions, a lot of concerns, a lot of fear. So totally get that.
Definitely. That's why I wanted us to have this conversation and make it a lot more so about our experiences, because when it comes down to it, it was all mental, right? Things that we thought about before, maybe our lack of education, fear of the unknown. So a lot of it comes down to for us to handle it, in that sort of perspective. Because anytime, at least I know I sit down with a client or I sit down with anyone, I always like to gauge, well, where's their mindset at, right? Because you can present, a great topic to someone, but they might not be there because, one of the big things is financial literacy, right? And at some point, we all have to figure it out and, just take it to the next level if we're very serious about our business. But kind of just to piggyback on, some of the things that were said is it's like, okay, going that transition from, full-time entrepreneur into the business and that, and, just letting go of it. Did anyone have like a budget that they had and then they made the goal, or just was like, I'm just going to spread my wings and fly?
I had a budget and I blew through it, and then I had to figure it out.
I had $500 to start my business. How I got $500, I don't know. And I did everything I could to stretch that $500 as far as I could.
I had 6 months worth of my pay, right? So I was like, I gave myself 6 months. Did not happen in 6 months. And by the grace of God, and I don't know what else, we continued on and we made it. And every month the money came in somehow, but it was frightening for a while. And then it just sort of clicked, but it was scary. I had someone tell me that whenever you have a calling, it usually exceeds your budget. So
I like that. That is so true.
All right, that's good to know. No, with me it was just I had a dream, an idea, and I started talking to people, and people just like Derek said, you start like, hey, let me do it for free, or because that's give or take what you don't even know what you're getting into until you're really into it. So, and then one day a client that I had done already a lot of work for free goes like, so quick question, how do you live? how do you live? And back then I still had my 9 to 5. So I'm like, oh, I have this. And it's like, well, you do such a good work building websites. Why don't you just go full time? And I said, well, first of all, where am I going to get the money? It's like, you haven't named the price. And that's how I got started.
Okay. I love it. So if anyone watching this is like, I need to have everything very perfect, you have us on here that it definitely was not that case at all. But why did everyone want to become an entrepreneur?
Well, go ahead, John.
Well, I was sold on the dream that you get your own time, you get to do your own things. In reality, you just get a lot more responsibility. I was sold that way.
Listen, I'm right there with you, John. That was the pitch also. And being able to be flexible, right?
Mm.
So like, if you're on a 9 to 5 where you got a strict schedule, 2:00 live stream, I don't know if I'd really be able to have done that, So the flexibility of being able to manage your own schedule, right? Your own time, was a huge one for me. And also just the fact that like when you have a dream, when you have something that you really believe in that you want to do, and it no longer fits within the paradigm or the mission of the organization you're a part of, it might be time at that point to go and start that thing, to go bring it into reality, right? And so that's what I started to realize. I was like, this dream is outgrowing where I am, and I need to take that dream, take it somewhere, and let it grow. It's like if you have a plant, you're trying to grow like a big fruit tree, and you're trying to grow it in a little pot inside the house, right? It could do okay in there, for a while. You can kind of baby it, right? But then there needs to be a point where you get it outside. Then there needs to be a point where you take it from that pot and you put it in the ground, right? So that's kind of like how it is when you're starting a business.
Yeah. I'm going to bring my English teacher back for a minute. There's a poem by Langston Hughes that says, "What happens to a dream deferred?" And part of it is, does it fester like a sore and then run? And that's what was happening to me. I became a teacher because I believe in the potential that every single human being has in them. And I became a teacher to help bring out that potential in this youth. But it became more and more difficult to do that. It was a lot about everything else except the kids. It was about numbers. It was about data. It was about just checking boxes. It wasn't about helping kids develop their potential. And that started festering inside of me. That dream of helping people started just getting me literally sick. Like I was losing my hair. I was becoming physically sick. It was very extreme. So for me, it was either leave or die. It literally felt like that. And so all the other risks and all the other things and the scariness that the money was running out, all that other stuff failed in comparison to the knowledge that I couldn't go back. And so that's what got me started.
So powerful.
And that's what I love about this group. All of you are so freaking passionate about everything you do that I'm so proud to have you all together all the time, or have the experience to meet all of you except for Tori in person. But
It'll happen.
Yeah, sooner or later. But it's amazing. You see, Derek agrees with me. We got sold on the dream, but in reality, I don't think none of us will change anything of what we have or what we had before. Because on top, I mean, a few of you know that I'm a single dad, and I have my daughter 24/7. And that's one thing that I'm so blessed about this type of work that I do. Just like Derek has his kids.
I have
my daughter, and I'm running up and down, and I make my schedule around her or whatever. But those are things that you will never be able to find a 9 to 5. They will fire you. They'll fire you because they don't understand that you have a family. They don't understand that you have a life, and they don't understand that you have personal preference on what to do instead of being sitting in front of a computer. Mm-hmm. I mean, for them, not for you.
Yeah.
Well, and John, I agree completely. I mean, I think we can all talk in this group. Families are so important. I walked away from a corporate life almost 20 years ago when my daughter was born, for those very reasons that you said. We wanted the flexibility. We wanted to be able to put our family first. They don't understand, you want to be a part of field trips. You want to be able to do this. So I always wanted to be there for my family, for my daughter. And so that's what I did. I mean, I walked away from corporate. I raised her. I was a stay-at-home mom, then turned into a homeschooling mom. And then when she was a junior in high school, I mean, I always knew I would go back to work at some point and hoped we would be able to homeschool the whole way through. And we were, and that's fantastic. But her junior year, I'm like, how am I going to get back into, the business world? No one's going to want me I've been out of it for so long. Everything has changed. And then that's when I started looking into, could I start my own business? And then started researching it, and all the skills that I had that I developed through the corporate world, I was able to translate that into my virtual assistant business. So now, I mean, I can honestly say for me, I've not missed any of my daughter's first words, first step, first time driving in a car, first time, I mean, first everything. And that's been phenomenal. So I think I've done it a little bit differently than maybe some other people have, but now, I mean, I now have my own business at 50 years of age. It's fantastic. And it's just amazing what all is possible.
And not only that, by the job that you have, I haven't met your daughter, but I'm pretty sure you're dropping off an amazing human being for all of us here.
Thank you.
Hashtag goals, Tori.
That's right. Well, you know, it's kind of like what Roger put in the chat, spread your wings and fly. And I think that that's really kind of what we've all have to make that decision at some point to do. And it can be scary, but so rewarding when you do that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Definitely. And, you know, I think financial freedom is one of those that definitely can come when we just have more control of that for our families, and, you know, for everyone that, you know, we maybe want to come through for, or even just all the lives that we impact on a day-to-day basis, you know, through all our different individual businesses. You know, at some point we've been such a crucial part to someone's life, or even just that little piece in their transition. You know, so a lot of what we do is very important, but what would you all define as like financial freedom for yourself and your business?
That's a loaded question.
The funny thing is that, yeah, that changes for everybody, I think. For me, financial freedom is not having to worry, right? Like not having to worry that we're going to have enough to pay the bills, that we're going to have enough to cover the things. And also that if my girls say they want something and they've earned it, that I can say yes. You know, it's that kind of a relaxation of not having that weight on your shoulders, just knowing that you can say yes.
I'll go 100% with everything that Marcy just said. And I'll add one thing to that for me as well, is it's not having any bad debt. So getting to a place, and I'm thankful I've been able to get to a place where I'm not in any debt with the business or personally. The only debt I'm in personally is just with my mortgage. So, which I would consider to be like
good.
Not necessarily good debt, but like better debt, right? Like debt, you know.
That's a better way.
Yeah. So I think that's huge as well, right? Because when you have that, we've all been there before at some point where you have that looming debt that you just know every month you have to pay off and throw money into this, and being able to have that flexibility and that freedom to like go, oh, I don't have to pay that now. It's done. It's taken care of, right?
Mm-hmm. That is right. For me, I'll have to add to both of your things because it truly, both of them make a lot of sense. But for me, is the ability of, like Marcy said, having enough money not to worry about it, have everything on auto pay. And the next thing for me would be able to go and mentor other kids that need these foundations. Because truly, school, they do an amazing job of creating sheeps and people that go back to a workplace that they make sausages all day. It's crazy. We need leaders. We need a lot of leaders. The people that are leaders, they're getting older. They're passing away in so many countries. So we need people to lead the younger generation. So that would be my freedom.
I love it.
Sorry.
Well, for us, I've been really fortunate because, you know, my husband has been full-time employed the entire time. So we've been able to live on just one income. And that's been difficult at times, but, you know, we've always been able to make it. But the one thing that we need to catch up on is for us in the future for retirement. So that's what the focus of what I do with my business is to help us so that we can come to a point where we can retire. So we're playing catch up in that role right there.
Okay.
You know, I'm reminded too of one of my mentors once told me that if you can throw money at something, it's no longer a problem. It's just something to work through, right? So one of the things that is one of my goals personally is to get to the space where I know that pretty much anything that comes up, if I can throw money at it, I can make it better, right? And that's not to say that money solves everything, but even an illness, if you can throw money at better doctors, then it's no longer that big of a burden, right? So, or no longer that scary. So that's one of my goals in life in general, is to get to that space where I feel confident that anything that comes my way, I have enough money to help me make it a lesser problem.
Yeah, either money or cryptocurrency, because both of them are in demand.
That's the one thing I love about John is that he can take any like serious thing that can make people feel like it's too much and just throw a joke in there, and then everything is is light. So I definitely love that, and it's very true. Financial freedom does look different for everyone. And getting there is something that as an entrepreneur we can prioritize and intermingle with our goals and where we want to go. Because sometimes when I sit down with people and everything, it would take them so much longer to get there. It would take them a long time, and as we were talking about, we spread our wings. A dream, a vision is what gets us to continue to go moving forward every day. And it's like when you work, for someone else, which, you might be part of a great company, that's not the conversation. But just having that, freedom. And I think that if everyone at any point could taste being their own business owner or pursuing maybe that little dream that's in there, I definitely encourage everyone to do it, because at least even if you fail, you gave it a shot, and you gave yourself even an opportunity to show what you're made of. We're made of so much more than we always that we see for ourselves, because when we're in our own head, we don't always see the way other people see us and all the potential that we have. But also just because the thing about being an entrepreneur and having to figure out money, having to figure out talking to people, marketing, there's so many different complexities, is that it makes us just honestly a better human being in general, because we just can provide so much value. And the value that is brought here in this conversation, like it's experience. You can't really like buy it or anything. So I'd like all of us to give 3 tips to any up and coming entrepreneur, or maybe someone who's already an entrepreneur. You just 3 financial habits that you think someone new, or if you want to choose like, hey, I think that someone who's already established can learn this. What would you say those 3 are?
Before I give my tips, I just want to say one quick thing on the back of what you just said. Even if you love where you're working, that's amazing. Become an entrepreneur then. That just means adopt a mentality of I can add value and I can be an agent of change where I'm at, right? So whether you're an entrepreneur or an intrapreneur, it's just adopting that mentality of going out there to add value and to make a change. And I just wanted to throw that out there. But also my tips would be, first of all, set clear intentions. A lot of people go into business thinking, I want to make a lot of money. That's not a clear intention. Set a specific goal and know that your goal will grow and shift as your business grows and shifts, right? But have clear goals that you can extrapolate from, you can work backwards from, right? Because if you know that you want to make $60,000 the first year and you know how much you sell your services or your products for, then you can calculate how many clients you need, and you can have clear weekly and monthly goals that are going to move you forward, right? So set clear intentions is the first one. The second one is shift out of fear and into possibility, because there's a lot that you're going to do with your money, especially at first, that is going to feel very scary. I think all of us invested more than we intended to invest at the beginning, and that investment paid off eventually, but at the beginning it's really scary. So make those decisions out of possibility and not fear. And then finally, make sure that you're not trying to go this alone. There's people out there who know. There's people that have done this already. There's no reason to reinvent the wheel, and anything that you're scared about, anything that you're concerned about or confused about, somebody out there knows. So go out there and find who knows.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would say, I don't know if I have three off the top of my head, but I would say for sure, find people who are smarter than you and spend a lot of time picking their brain and seeing what they know, right? So being able to have a CPA, that you trust, that's going to help you plan well for tax time, not just like stuff that Christine shared here a couple live streams ago, but like having someone who can help you budget for that as well. You're like, okay, if you're going to bring this much in approximately, this is how much of it's going to taxes. So go about what you do with that in mind, right? How much you're going to pay yourself, how much you're going to spend on something this quarter, right? So being able to have people that you trust, that have your genuine best interest at heart, and really staying connected with them and being like open and transparent with the people in your life about where finances are at with the business, right? So if you're married, or if you're have someone that is dependent on you for money in some way, just being genuine of like, hey, like here's how much we didn't bring in that we needed to, right? And just being honest about where you're at as a business. And that transparency is just so important financially when you have a business, because you want to look like you have it all together. You want to reassure everyone that you've got it and everything is okay. We're going to make it. But just being honest, like with where things are at, and just realizing it's all part of the journey.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so for me, what I would say is, I'm just gonna add a little bit from what Marcy and Derek said, because yes, it's so important for you to have a total number so you can work backwards and figure out what you need and how you're gonna, so you can strategize how you're gonna get there financially. Just like Derek says, it is important for you to meet people along the way that know more than you. And the next one that I think for me would be invest in yourself. When I say invest in yourself, I'm talking about go to mentors, go to seminars, go to events, go to places that are gonna force you. And I say force you because let's be honest, if you're not gonna pick up that book every single day. Okay, go to places that force you to think different. Go and talk to people that are already in that location where you want to be in life and ask them questions, because one of the biggest mistakes that we all make, including myself, is that sometimes we ask for advice to the people that are not where we want to be. If you want to have a successful marriage, don't ask your divorced parents. Go and ask the couple that is married for 50 years. Go and ask them. Yeah. That's what I mean. And I'm sorry to be so direct, but that was one of my biggest mistakes.
And everyone had a point that really is the journey that I went through. And so, John, with you saying investing in yourself, that is such a hard thing for people to do. And you don't really know why, but it really is. So making that investment in yourself is going to be key, because once you do that, you've sort of obligated yourself to hopefully see it through. But then also finding those people that can help you along that journey, and do not be afraid to ask help. So many times people won't ask the questions because they don't want to appear stupid or silly or not intelligent. There truly is no stupid question out there, none at all. I've asked every question under the sun. If you were to ask my husband, if I say I have a question, he's can I ask a question? He'll say, better than anybody I know. And I have asked questions of so many people that have helped me so much. And get involved in groups, just like what we have here with our group in E3. I mean, there's so many wonderful resources that are in our group. So all of those people who are starting to join, when you're in the Facebook group, say hi, that's wonderful, but ask questions. There's lots of people just here on this panel that can certainly help you, but also entrepreneurs who have walked down that road that you may be beginning who can help you do that. So just don't be afraid to ask questions and to connect.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that brings me to one thing that happened to me this weekend. I happened to meet for a brief, I spent 2 hours with a guy that I didn't know the guy was mega wealthy. Seriously, the guy looked so normal, so we started talking, going back and forward, and we were in a mini tour at an art gallery. And the guy started asking a bunch of questions that most of us would find silly, like childish. But because of the way he was asking, you can truly tell that he was interested in learning. But the thing that I love the most, because as you know, I teach art as well, I teach dancing, is because I teach kids, teenagers, and adults. I get to see this. This is what I call a phenomena in my head, because it's so sad. When I teach adults, I teach them a move, and they're so afraid of making it again because they don't want to see. They don't want people to see that they messed up.
Mm-hmm.
I teach teenagers the same move, and they're not ashamed, or they're more like, I just don't want to do it because of whatever. I just want to act cool. But then they figure out a way of doing it just to have fun. But they do it. But you see, there's a little hurdle that they have to go through. The adults, on the other hand, they're already like, I don't even want to look stupid. I don't want to go through that. But the funny thing is that when I teach kids, they don't care about anybody. They just want to have fun and do it. And that's the same thing that I saw with this guy. It was an older guy. He was not afraid of what people would think, how they will address to him after the questions that he asked. And I'm like, one day when I grow up, I want to be like you. Just because he was genuine on what he was looking for, and he didn't care. He wanted to learn, because that is the approach that we as entrepreneurs should be looking for.
That's so true. We have to be very childlike in a sense. And when you do study very successful people in business, or even just wealthy people, a lot of times is because they stayed curious. They stayed learning, and a lot of times it's very humble. Kind of to what Marcy was saying. Us Latinos, we come from a specific mindset, but a lot of times it's like we can just go have conversations with them, and sometimes people think, oh, well, a mentor costs money, or, where else am I supposed to get? No, it's like, go join a group, like we said, go to a networking event. There's a lot of free ones, or even just, find someone that you admire, send them a DM on Instagram and say, hey, I'd love to buy you lunch, coffee, or even could we do a virtual conversation? We don't know if someone's gonna say yes, but we have to get to the point where we at least ask, and it comes with that curiosity, and it comes with that humility of saying, you know what, they're doing great in this area. Let me go find out what they're doing, because us as entrepreneurs, we love giving value. Like if someone asks us a question, we're like, oh yeah, let me tell you, because we've all been through the tough times, we've been through the great times, we've been up, we've been down. That we don't want other people to, take the long route. If someone can give us a quicker route that we get there faster, and that's great. And, we all said mentorship. We all said, getting ourselves involved with different people. The one that I would say is different is track everything. So I'd say track your business finances like you track, your clientele, your customers, everything that you do there. Because a lot of times we forget to do that for that aspect. And at first, when you're starting a business, maybe you don't have an accountant, maybe you don't have a big team, but start having those little habits now because, in the future, that's going to be a lot easier for you and you'll be able to scale and get to, where you need to go in that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
And the final question that I have for us all, because I know we're coming to a wrap here, is so I just want us all to dream, okay? And what is something that you want to purchase or that you want to like invest in, whether that be for your family, business, however you want to do it. But what is that? I'd love to hear what everyone's fancy thing that they want to do is. Go ahead, John.
No, I was gonna say this one I would love for you to answer because you have asked a lot of questions. Let's start with you.
Okay, so for me, I definitely want to have a house on Palm Beach Island. For those of you who live around here, know the area, that's something that I would love to do. I'd love to raise a family there because it seems very like calm and everything. So that one's mine.
All right.
Yeah, I echo that one. I want a house in Palm Beach Island, but I also want a house in the mountains. So I want two houses. But that's just the selfish one. The dream one is I want to create a non-for-profit family wellness center where everybody from grandma to baby can be taken care of in their wellness needs.
Okay. For me, my biggest thing is I want to be able to launch a non-for-profit. Again, as I mentioned earlier, I want to create leaders. One thing that has helped me develop my brain has been the art of dancing. And I want to be able to make it affordable. And I say affordable because nowadays dancing, like any other art, is very expensive for mainly low-income families. I want to be able to give that gift to other people, other kids.
That's beautiful what you guys are sharing about starting the nonprofits. Mine feels a little more selfish. Well, mine's a more short-term one, but next year will be my 10-year anniversary since I got married. Thank you. So I've never been, confession time, I've never been to New York City before.
Okay.
And so I would love
Awesome.
to, for our 10-year anniversary, go to New York City, which is an expensive place, and not have to worry about how much I'm spending, right? So you're going to go to a Broadway show, stay in a hotel near Times Square, do all the fun things, and just not have to stress the whole time. Like, oh, this is so expensive. This is so much money, right? So just being able to like take memorable trips like that with me and my wife, and then eventually me and my kids, and just not have to worry about how expensive things are going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like it.
That's it.
Well, like Derek, I agree with, everybody wanting to start a nonprofit. I think that's really wonderful, but mine's really selfish. That stay-at-home homeschooling mom, the big sacrifice we made, we didn't take vacations. We vacationed at home. So, Derek, next May, my husband and I are celebrating 30 years. So I would like to take a nice vacation, perhaps Europe, Scotland, although if you get me to Scotland, I will probably never come home. So we'll be doing these live streams, across
Thank God for the internet because I'm not allowing you to leave the podcast.
So that is my wild dream that I want to have.
That's awesome. Derek 10, I'm celebrating my 20th in December, and then Tori 30. So 10, 20, 30. Isn't that cool?
When I get married, I'll be coming to you guys to get
There
advice.
you go.
And since we all are getting a house in Palm Beach Island, it'll be a short walk.
You guys just save me a room and I'll come and visit.
It'll have a guest house, so you're
Well, there you
welcome.
There you go.
Okay,
Me too.
very good. I'm staying with Nicole in the guest,
Oh,
with the guest
okay.
house.
So now we know who's the favorite.
Well, you guys are all going to have the houses there. So, within walking distance of each other, I'm the one that needs a place to stay.
We're all going to have guest houses. You can spend one day in each one.
There you go.
Oh, fantastic. And see, for me, that would be vacation time. So I'll be catching up on all the vacations that we've missed.
There you go.
Awesome.
All
I
right.
love it. Well, it's been a great time. If anyone else has anything they'd like to share, feel free to do so. But other than that, that is everything that we have for you all today. I hope that you got some value, had some good tips, and that you keep the dream alive. Keep just having fun with it, being very childlike and just having fun and, having good habits. So thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, everyone. Have
Thank
a
you,
lovely, lovely day. And thank you for being part of this network of E3. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.